I'm happy to moderate this panel discussion because all of my life, one way or another, I am dealing with globalization of Korean businesses and its expansion. So I'm very happy that today we're talking about Ukrainian AI products and companies and global competition, what we can offer to the world. And we're already players in this. We are players in AI competition. Do we have enough resources for this competition? Let's talk about it. Sam Altman said that the most successful AI product will be those that deeply understand one thing, which is people. And today we're also talking about whether Ukrainian teams and products understand their customers, because when we talk about going to other foreign markets and expansion, it's about customers and other markets. So I wanted to invite to the stage my panelists, Sudilkovskyi, brand and business director of Loon, which is part of our Diia.City United. Mykhailo Nestor, who is the Chief Product Officer of Kyivstar.Tech, also participants of our union. Oleksii, Orap, founder and director of YouScan, also participants of our union. Oleksandr, Stelmakh, Senior Director of Visa's Digital Solutions, Ukraine, Georgia, CIS, and Southeastern Europe, are partners of our union. So we have a very short panel discussion, only 40 minutes, so we'll be laconic when practical, and when we are going somewhere wrong, so we receive a signal us if we're going some wrong way. You can say something, you can wave us, we can show, we can try working with this. So look, the question is very simple, but also complicated at the same time. So how do you build in Ukraine a unicorn using AI? As we discussed in the first panel, is AI a feature or is it a product? And many other things. So let's look at this, and let's start with this important thing. From my first question to everyone, just 3 minutes for this. First, it's about your personal experience of global competition with AI features or AI products. What is the benefit that you can see in Ukrainian teams, and what barriers are critical? Because we're talking about barriers. The history of international trade, and we are talking about international trade and global expansion. When you're entering international markets, there are different barriers. Who's ready to start? I can put it shorter than 3 minutes. Today, on the investment panel discussion, we've covered many of the things that we were discussing. And I think, AI is infrastructure. AI is the programming language, basically. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be a way to do something, to do the job. So if we keep this analogy in your head, Ukraine will be in the same situation where it was before, with tech and IT industry. There will be stream for service businesses, but there will be different services. Service companies are going to be adapting to what they buy. There'll be global enterprises, the customers who are ready to buy something built on LLM or other things, so there'll be outsources. Instead of trading desks, they will be producing other things. And the second stream that everybody is talking about, it's the same thing, and it's about creating environment. So we need to have more product companies in Ukraine. So AI will, these companies will have to use AI. So that's makes my heart warm to have more product-based companies and products. So whole. So how small players win over bigger players? That's an existential question. By decision, by quickness of decision making, by creating values and distribution of value. Will AI help in this speed? Yes, it will. So for us, it's natural to be small compared to world giants. Loon is a Ukrainian company. We work in 10 different countries under different brands, and in each country, there are competitors who are dozens of billions each. There are smaller ones, 5 billion, and they're even smaller. But still, you have to win somehow. How? By speed. In some processes, even with Ukrainian competitors, some processes are happening within 3 to 6 hours, when compared to these Ukrainian companies, it takes months. So AI is a turbo speed for those who can work on this speed. So this is a great quote. This is turbo speed up. So Oleksii then. So to generalize, I think Ukrainian startups have a huge number of strong points to compete on global markets. So the speed and bravery to do new things, it's important. Resilience, our resilience and our stress test, stress resilience. The war gave us the new understanding of what stress is for me personally, for the team. Stress from startup life has become something softer than when your house is hit with a missile or something. So we're not afraid. So thirdly, it's technical talent. We are quite strong in AI talent. We have a great developers who are producing super optimal and very effective things. I see it in my team. And the thesis that AI is infrastructure, well, we've heard it many times. We have to stress it. So we don't have to compete with OpenAI. We don't have to compete with Amazon Web Service. It's something you can build products and make it much more powerful and quicker than now. And we have another strong thing is that we're quickly learning new things, adopting new things. And the turbo accelerator, yeah, we can use it. We can speed up the development. We can speed up marketing with AI. I don't see like techno giants like OpenAI as competitors. And commodity, using it and win over global competitors in our niches. So Oleksandr, there's the Ukrainian saying that you're praising AI, but you're not only watching Ukraine, because Visa is one of the global leaders in adoption for fraud detection and other fintech stories. Since you are responsible not only for Ukraine, you're responsible for a much wider market. Tell us, is it really so good and fine and dandy, as they say? You know, there are always pros and cons in any situation. First of all, I would agree with the colleagues, not only as Ukrainian, but as a person who worked with 17 countries. You know, the ratio of price and quality of development of new products and bringing them to the market, we are the best in that. Earlier it was Indian programmers booming, then Chinese, then Polish, etc. But anyway, Ukrainians are much better, much more efficient, much more resilient. You will never find that price and quality ratio anywhere in the world. Second, I loved how our resilience and how resistive we are to all kinds of stress factors. Because even in my job, in my work, when during the blackouts in 2023, Starlink and Generator continued to communicate with Dubai office. My colleague said, maybe we should postpone a couple of days. And I said, well, what will change? Let's continue. We're working, so that's why in a situation with a deadline or something else, when something doesn't work out, well, it's a small hiccup, and we'll get over it, and we'll work. So stress resilience of Ukrainian companies are absolutely far in space. Nobody in the world is on par with that. So coming back to pros and cons is something that we are very focused on our bubble of what's happening in Ukraine. So when we're looking at, I don't work with the U.S. and countries of Western Europe, but looking at the Central Asia and region of Caucasus, what works in Ukraine can be completely different from what is in the other countries, even not so far from us. But indeed, we can be proving that the way we work is better because it shows some results, and we see some examples where our companies attempted to go to other markets. Some succeeded, some didn't. Some could repeat their Ukrainian success, some couldn't. So here, the ability to look and to draw some conclusions, learn some lessons from other market, from other requirements and other customers, that's probably what we need to get. So coming back to your initial question about the unicorns from Ukraine, we have some examples, you'll know it, and it proves that it's possible. Right, thank you. So you should always perform some reality check. I use AI often to do a reality check, what I wrote, of what I'm trying to work out. Even this panel discussion as a timeline, I ran it through time constraints. And he says, you're very ambitious. It's a very ambitious goal to cover all the issues in 40 minutes. So let's look at your experience of your companies, and going on global markets. Dennis, let's start with you. Everybody knows Luna, but even for me, it was a discovery that you have many more products designed specifically for their countries that are different than the Loon that you have, because Loon is a company. But the product that we know, that application that we're using in Ukraine, have you planned it initially like that, or you tried to work with Loon first? So give us some insights to save money and time. I read on the internet that you can take Ukrainian business, Control-C, Control-V in Poland, and be reach. It doesn't work. It didn't never work. We tried it. It's expensive, but it was a mistake. So no, you can't create, in our case, create a unique universal product that you can copy, paste everywhere in the world. In every country there are specifics, domains, what's the attitude to real estate, how they choose it, how they decide. So I cannot say that in each country there's a unique product, but the very specific unique features. What unites them is that it's all created by one team that have expertise with, and they are accumulating this expertise. So opening in new countries is, you have experience, but you have people that made so many mistakes, they can learn. So you put the put your finger on the globe and we'll be leaders here and there. So AI and ChatGPT says it's very ambitious goal. So ChatGPT is praising your solutions because you pay $20 per month. What is the, how about $200? It will praise you like a god. What's the biggest failure that you had in your experience and you remember in terms of coming to external models? It's blind faith in square meters, that everybody's buying square meters and renting square meters. It's wrong. It was wrong. In Kazakhstan, for example, there's a clear thing when people are thinking about buying a house. It's wedding, because after the wedding, the young couple takes a mortgage, and next 20 years they are paying the mortgage. So when they decide to buy a house or apartment, that's where they prepare for marriage. That's a very, and there are no other scenarios there. So if you understand this, if you can adapt your product, so you look into wedding gowns, so you look into houses. Right, that's right. And it's a woman who chooses the quarter. See, I was feeling that it's about wedding gown, the wedding dress. What does AI give us? It gives us speed and personalization. The better we can personalize our product for a certain market, ideally for each specific person, the better experience. So we came back to some elements. So you have to understand people. Oleksii, you understand, you work on the very highly competitive SAS market, close to Brandwatch, Sprinkle, Talkwalker, and you wrote a post about panel discussion where, when you will speak, you had the phrase, and you repeated it, that it's not worth copying OpenAI or big companies who deal with it, and you have to do what they cannot do. So, and that was repeated in the previous panel. You try to create niche product. What's your logic? How you work? A couple work about YouScan. Those who don't know, system analytics of social networks. We help big brands in Ukraine and the world to understand what users say. We aggregate hundreds of millions of mentions from social networks. Our customers in Ukraine, Rosetka, Uklon, Fozi Group, Nova Poshta, and globally it's McDonald's, Walmart, Samsung, and such brands. So a lot of AI under the hood, of course. So because without AI, you cannot get insights from such big amounts of text and pictures and transfer it into something valuable for users. I am proud. There was an industry-wide social listing, and we took the 5th place globally in this super competitive industry where there are more than 150 global players. And we are a relatively small company. We have about 80 people. We compete with big, powerful players and companies from the US and Europe. And we do great things, so boldly. In 2023, we launched Insight Copilot AI assistant that allows to speak with data, with natural language, asking about insights. Last year, we improved it, and we can ask to build charts. It's like ChatGPT, but for specialized social networks, which brings value for brands. And our global vision now is no longer to be a system that brings insight from social data, but building infrastructure for insights and global brands for all the data that they have. We allow now to integrate data, our own data and our own company's data, to analyze this with AI tools, to build dashboards that integrate different data. So this kind of enterprise thing. What was the question again? You actually did. You answered the question. You did the task of a marketing team. So your entering global markets, where you had success and where you had not so much success. So there's a stereotype where global markets are the U.S., of course, yes, a big and important market, but not only the U.S. is globalization. We have customers in Europe, we have in Latin America. Latin America is a very rapidly growing market. We have a team of 10 people in Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, big, powerful economies, and they are not as competitive in terms of players in the U.S. who are on their domestic market. So we are interested in entering such niche markets with the products of world class. In terms of fails, the U.S. we hired some sales team, then we fired the sales team because they didn't perform as much as we got used to in Ukraine, and we don't want to pay that money for not bringing us to the customers. Although it's a it's a stereotype that if you have foreign markets, you have to need local sales team. Well, when we have cultural much, but with Europeans, with Americans, we have no problem. But Latin America is a different thing. You still have to be on the same wave with the market. So we do hire local people, and it's more effective than we could have done so with Ukraine. So Mykhailo. So you're part of the global holding. You'll know Kyivstar. We love this brand. We use it. But not all users understand that Kyivstar is not just Kyivstar. It's a part of global holding. You are going to go to Nasdaq, so it's an interesting thing. How Ukrainian team can initiate projects that can scale up within global local group. There were some cases. Understanding the proactiveness. So where were you successful, where were you not successful? So unlike colleagues, we start from the opposite situation. We already have a footprint. We already are present in some countries. And what we can do there? We as VEON, as a holding, we are a great example of an enterprise that worked for the last 10 years going through digital transformation, where we started doing more inside, less using vendors and outsourcers. So it's a general process to have more of a product based culture inside. So enterprise that works with B2C base, like subscribers. B2B is the same, but we understand it's about mobile phones. There are a lot of systems, and it can only be comparable with banking in terms of complexity, telecom. And as a business, the business looks how to quickly solve a problem. So they buy something out of the box in the market. If you buy something out of the box, you're not producing anything. And that's the situation for our enterprise. The latest 5 years in Ukraine, Kyivstar.Tech is 600 people. You'll know that. So we're doing a lot inside. Of course, it's about core telecom. It's a business that brings billions of dollars to us. We pay taxes from that. So it's the most important. But these things can be scaled up. It's what we used to call machine learning. Now it's AI. But any one-to-one systems, recommendations, next best offers, anti-fraud, if we talk about transaction safety. So everything that is good for interesting target, like big data, when we understand that there are these segments of people who behave like this or they live like that, and we can do some marketing communication with them. So those are the things that work well, and they are scaled up for different telecom. We understand this, but also to integrate enterprise in general. In Ukraine, since it's a product-based, enterprise in the world is pretty fresh. But before that, we exported more what we call expertise than service. Big data, Ukraine is the strongest in the group, so that's why we had people requesting. We had hubs when we got together different expertise. Now we work inside to have some part of vendor products like one-to-one recommendations, where a huge number of businesses, personal offers, personal tariffs, downsells, and so to start doing it inside. And also service part that I didn't mention, but if you have more than 20 billion per users per month, call centers, you'll try to call center at some point. So automation, yeah, and we also tried it not only in Ukraine. It's just a living example. Just last week, one global vendor as a startup, nobody heard this name, they made a demo, voice support bot. You call a support center, but instead of the living person, so they have a headquarters in Dubai, the whole IT stack in the US, the tech team is there, and they wanted to make a mini demo. I said the only one condition that I would agree for the call, if the demo is going to be in Ukrainian. So your support bots have to talk Ukrainian with me and service me in Ukrainian voice. They said, okay, let's postpone it in a day, what Dennis said, and we'll show it to you. And I say, okay. So they showed it, and I did talk, and they interrupted. It started to upsell something to me, and I said, no, I don't need that, and I only need roaming. So you can interrupt it, you can clarify, it keeps the context alive, it follows the script, and the end it says, okay, let's do the summary, you did this and that, and it will mean the monthly payment is so and so. So, of course there were some things, there were some hiccups, but 95% is talking to a live person, and you can ask it again to clarify, and it's not a theory, it's not something I read on the internet, it's there. So it's still expensive, but in 6 months or 12 months, it's going to be much cheaper because it's becoming cheaper. And it's just an example of things to come. I absolutely have to plug some of our participants. They made a demo with their IT product where the voice, AI voice, that works in support of taxi drivers speaks the language like taxis with slang, with mannerisms, with pauses. And it was incredible. So that support bot is the same. It's like, oh, that's a good question, Mikhail. Let me ask you this and that. So not just like a robot speaking. So Oleksandr, to you, question to you. We know that Visa is not just a global player. Visa has a lot of programs that help startups to integrate into what you're doing all over the world and be one of the examples of how you can play in the global market. You can play independently, but also you can be in partnership with someone like Visa. You can test your product. You can get the data set back. What is now available for Ukrainian startups that you have? Thank you for the question. You know, as a company that started doing AI in 1993, really? Some of us went to school back then. Right. I also went to school back then. But this year, we started using neural network to monitor potential fraud transactions and stop them. All these 30 years, it's been developing so rapidly and so well. So what we have now, it just keeps billions of dollars per year, and each transaction on the Visa card, it has a scoring, and we advise the bank, do we need to approve it or not? And not everybody looks at it, but it's another question. At least do they have discoverability. But as to AI, I think I tell you where we stream our efforts.
Applicable for Ukrainian companies, but in fact, the one direction is a protection of transactions for data. First of all, it's our internal development, which we improving constantly. Of course, there are certain possibility for startups. but it's not significant. Another direction, which we just month ago started more or less our new product, Visa Intelligent Commerce. The idea of the project is to give a possibility to any AI client or any agent to make a purchase. We are not writing to the agent. We have a lot of other companies to do it. We are about transactions, and we want to make any company using this agent to use coherent rules for our owner, that it would be known and understandable, and that everyone would have the visibility how this transaction is going on. This story was announced a month ago. It starts with United States. Visa is an American company, first of all, but we as Ukrainian representation fight that this possibility would be available for our Ukrainian partners already in the next year. I think we have good chances for that. As for how it works, we have several programs. One of these programs I would advise you to use at the start of this way. This is 38 different API which can be used by any company, and with the financial sphere and not just financial sphere, and thus opening the way for Visa connection and helping your clients. But not just that. We also have Visa Ready program. This is the quality mark. If you have passed through certification of Visa Ready, you go to special site available for all our worldwide partners, and this means that the company who was tested and received this certification is guaranteed to be used with the high quality standards and security standards for Visa partners. And not in AI sphere, unfortunately, but we have some Ukrainian companies who deal with integration, different technical solutions, and they are participants of this platform. 3 companies to be precise. But the doors are open and nothing is impediment to this. This is the second and the last one, the most interesting thing. We do all the year, every year we do start a so-called battle, where we gather applicants from different types of fintech companies, technical companies, developers all around the world, and lead them through this competition or contest, which is awarded by a grant and gives them an infrastructure, access to all the Visa infrastructure. And it's not clear what is more valuable. Yes, a very good question, because we have a company from Kazakhstan. Well, we don't pay attention to $50,000. We will find them, but that in 3 months you open the door and we have met with all your vice presidents and CEOs and so on. We visited your offices, we saw all your possibilities, and you gave such a positive boost to our products. It's definitely, this is not a question about money, definitely, but also to the access to infrastructure and the possibility to use these opportunities by the clients. This is a very practical thing. Thank you. We don't have much time, but I would like to play a game. Let's imagine you have a team, cool team, the best technological, organizational salesmen who work with AI. You have a resource, any financial resource. You have freedom of action, and you have to make AI breakthrough global product to the market, or create some feature in the product that you have or you see. What would you do in this respect? But very briefly, 1 minute, please. 1 minute time. Who's ready? Difficult question. Yes, indeed. But I think that the successful products are built where you have cool expertise and the understanding of client needs, both customer needs, to solve some problem for yourself and have the empathy for this user. Second is expertise of certain vertical. Diia.City is a good example, who won startup last year. Those are two surgeons who are making decisions to use AI, do better operations. So this expertise is not cloned by OpenAI. When you know your sphere deeply, you can use those technical talents, marketing talents, budget, and there where success is born. Denise, market is a problem. It's not a problem solution to rent or to buy an apartment. Everyone lives somewhere, and by resolving this problem, we want to provide the best place to live in. So a team, unlimited resources, unlimited technologies will be directed to the thing where we will have the best quantity of those places, like digital clones of the cities. That's what we are doing in our scale. You would like to do it in the world scale, to understand the city not in the current moment, but in the far complex trends where it will be comfortable to live in 10, 20 years. Understanding of those trends will give the opportunity to influence those trends, and will enable us to create cities the best quality of life, with good competitiveness, with more quantity of happy people, who will live in better conditions. We already do it, already doing these digital clones with the First Lady, with different ministries, with Defeating Barriers project. We have created 5 years this all Ukrainian network. Nobody done it before. All other projects who give answer to simple question where it will be better for me to live. Cool. I like it. In Kyiv's, I wouldn't say that we have problem with limited resources, especially now. It's not even needed to think much about that, because we need to have a real business, how to invest those money, and we do it boldly, non-organic, organics, both. So I will talk about startup with Denise. We have invented it recently. Okay, go ahead. So, if we had unlimited resources with good education, we still with very specific education, there is a gap between what we are having now from the technological point of view, to create text, to create video, audio, any content, any courses. We see it in weeks. We can do it real live videos without any human involvement with text. But there is a gap, and with traditional universities, for example, and how the education looks now. And even today, when Timothy talked, we had this thought that we will need to teach new people how to use it. And it should be done very fast. Because the reason why the 100,000 universities right now teach tens of millions of students, 98% is bullshit. Time and money going nowhere. And now we already have people who started to learn. Next 4 years they will do some bullshit. It's rudely put, but we have this anecdote, what we call, say, people with too high education. The cashier is free. So this would be a very cool space. We have question of education. We had first panel, what we need to do in Ukraine to create this AI breakthrough, and also the systematic changes in the education. Okay, what another breakthrough idea with unlimited resources? It has no relation to transfers and to visas. but I will talk about the transfers and visas. We had this issue that is impeding global commerce. Everything good with transfers. We can pick any option. You can pay your purchase. But when we are talking about practical stories to buy the sneakers, then we had a lot of issues. Ukrainian IP is not accessed, unknown way how to use the card, the account, how to use Credit Express, Ukrposhto. We already know how to bypass it, avoid it, but it's still some impediments. But basically, if we could make a startup that could be used in any shop of the world, it could enable you to pick the goods and to enable you to just press a button to buy and deliver to any village in Ukraine without all those different partner sites. That's what I would invest in. Yes, okay, take these ideas. And we have a final blitz. We are running out of time already. That's why I will ask to tell you one, maybe 3 words. That Ukrainian AI companies and companies using AI features would form global trends and would be global players. Call one thing needed to be changed in Ukrainian teams. Play big. Just play big. Don't concentrate on small Ukrainian, European things, global or not. More products, less outsource. Think more about the distribution, about sales, about marketing, not just about product. That's what we are lacking to be successful. I would tell not limit yourself and not be afraid of any challenges. From me, that's a global ambition. I would want everyone to be waking up with this desire to create something cool, global, but not just to create, but also to sell. To create something which would be globally cool and be bought by customers.